hay flow here. Do another little adventure and Bible reading out here. This place is amazing. It's one of the best places I've ever found. Ton of butterflies out here getting their moisture fix. I wonder how far I can go. I was theorizing that I might be able to go all the way across this, I don't even know what to call it, sandbar type thing. There's a ton of these snail shells too. I don't know if there's any actual snails here right now, but there's lots of their shells anyway. I might just plant right here. This looks like a good spot. I might do a couple of readings while I'm here since it's such an epic spot. Could have live streamed here by way of how good the signal is, but I didn't think, I was considering leaving my computer on, but I didn't do it, so don't have a way to check chat when I'm in that scenario. Which kind of defeats the purpose of a live stream. This thing is still wet from my time in the river. Oh wow, I didn't notice how close I am to getting my feet wet right here. It's right beneath me, just beside me is a very swamped area. This is crazy. I think you can possibly make a loop on this from land on one side to land on the other. There's some people camped around here, so I'll try not to be too loud. This is possibly my new favorite spot. Yeah, there's a crazy good signal here. I could totally live stream. Alright, well, we'll do a reading over this way. See how that looks. Be careful not to slip into this watery area. I guess I'll pull forward just a little bit and that should be good. Maybe I can use that little branch for a footstool. I didn't realize we were done with Judges already, so I guess we're starting Ruth, chapters 1 to 4, and Acts chapter 6. This is amazing. If I finish this reading, I'll turn the camera around that way because it's pretty ridiculous. So I'm recording at 15 megabits per second today, which should be more than adequate for this kind of motion. But for the river or creek, I think I need to go like up to 20 or something. Something crazy. This looks like a fairly short reading. Here with my mom, she's over that way a little bit. I didn't think I would do any of these readings while she was here, but we decided to go out and find places to enjoy nature, hike a little bit. We kind of hiked to here, just along the side of the lake, and then found how cool it was. And there's like a place to drive in right up to the edge of the lake over there. So I kind of speedily hiked back to the car and drove over here just so we could sit and enjoy it. This is a crazy spot. It's unbelievable. It's easily one of the top 10 spots I've ever been. It's a random day of the week. It's like, I think it's Thursday. So there's nobody here, but I would imagine like on the weekends this area is full of campers because they got dispersed camping, which is free camping. Like instead of a actual campground, it's just places cleared in the forest where you can just pull up your RV or do tent camping, whatever you like. I'd like to come out here and do a tent live stream or something someday, but I feel like I need to upgrade to my setup, like a Raspberry Pi and a GoPro or something like that, and a really big battery in order to do that kind of long live stream or overnight stuff, whatever. I'm gonna get a drink and then I'm gonna start the reading. Oh, this is amazing. I can't believe it. Not sure what those noises are. Somebody maybe setting up their camp over there. I don't know. Can hear people across the lake because the sound just travels. It's this really cool island over there that, man, that'd be so much fun to try to get to. If I ever get a kayak, I want to explore that kind of stuff. Guess I put this in backwards. That's why it was messing with me. All right, again, we're going to be reading Ruth 1 through 4 and Acts chapter 6. Ruth chapter 1. Actually, let me make sure. I noticed first time I bring this up, it does like a font refresh thing. Somebody commented that it's hard to read the text on the screen. It's a little bit small, and I totally get it. I'm not really sure what to do, though, because I can't make it readable on phones. I'm not sure if she's reading on a phone or on a TV or whatever, but it's pretty much impossible to make it read on a phone. If you're watching on YouTube, though, there are potentially closed captions you can turn on, make it a little bit easier to follow along, but yeah, it's definitely not sized for phones, and even smaller screens it would be harder to see. About the only thing I could do is, I don't want to make it look really crazy cartoony with the huge text. That just makes it kind of ridiculous, but I could put 2 or even 1 verse on at a time. I currently show 3 verses at a time, and that would allow me to make the text a little bigger, but if it's too big, it's just going to look goofy. I can also make the line spacing a little bit smaller and increase the font size to fill the gap between the lines a little bit, but I don't know. I'll do some experimenting when I get home, but that person was watching some really old videos, so they won't see this for months unless they watch my main channel, but they were looking at the WordHike channel. Got a couple comments recently, which is rare for me. I don't get much activity on my channel, really. So that's cool. A couple people watching, I guess. Alright, let's start over here. But I do appreciate the feedback, and I've been aware of the font size not being super ideal, but I don't know. I'm not sure what to do about it. I'll experiment, maybe. Ruth chapter 1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was famine in the land. And a certain man from Bethlehem in Judah, with his wife and 2 sons, went to reside in the land of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech, his wife's name was Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah, and they entered the land of Moab and settled there. Then Naomi's husband Elimelech died, and she was left with her 2 sons, who took Moabite women as their wives, one named Orpah, and the other named Ruth. And after they had lived in Moab about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and without her husband. When Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had attended to his people by providing them with food, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to leave the land of Moab. Accompanied by her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road leading back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you to your mother's home. May the Lord show you loving devotion as you have shown to your dead and to me. May the Lord enable each of you to find rest in the home of your new husband." And she kissed them as they wept aloud, and said, "Surely we will return with you to your people." But Naomi replied, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you go with me? Are there still sons in my womb to become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. Go on, for I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was hope for me to have a husband tonight and to bear sons, would you wait for them to grow up? Would you refrain from having husbands? No, my daughters, it grieves me very much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me." Again they wept aloud, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. "Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her gods. Follow her back home." But Ruth replied, "Do not urge me to leave you or to turn from following you, for wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me, and ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me." When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped trying to persuade her. So Naomi and Ruth traveled until they came to Bethlehem. When they entered Bethlehem, the whole city was stirred because of them, and the women of the city exclaimed, "Can this be Naomi?" "Do not call me Naomi," she replied. "Call me Mara, because the Almighty has dealt quite bitterly with me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? After all, the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me." So Naomi returned from the land of Moab with her daughter-in-law Ruth, the Moabitess, and they arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. It's a really loud boat over there. It must have one of those jet boat style things. Makes me wish I had a boat, that's for sure. It'd be super fun to be out, like on a kayak or a pontoon type boat. I really want to try to live stream on a boat of some sort, but it would have to be super stable. That's why I think I would like to get something with pontoons. Someday, perhaps. I keep saying that, and I don't know if it'll ever happen. It's pretty much the loudest boat ever. It's like just a basic old motorboat. It's just loud. A few fishermen over here. I'm sure they're thinking like, slow down, you're scaring all the fish. Not sure where they're headed exactly. There's I guess there is a boat ramp back over here. Maybe they're actually headed out for the day. I don't know. It'll take them like a half hour to get across at that rate. Pretty nice looking boat. It's very small, but it's very sleek and has a kind of a retro style. Nice canopy on it. It'd be cool to have something with a motor like that, but it's a lot of maintenance. I've heard just over and over again that boats can be a real problem. But if you just get like a kayak or something like that, it's a lot less trouble to deal with. I think I could probably fit a regular sized kayak in the shop when I'm not using it, just kind of throw it in there somewhere. So it wouldn't really present any major challenges for me. The biggest thing, and the main reason I haven't gotten one already, is the fact that I have to figure out something for a rack. And it's possible I could actually just make something. I don't know if it'd be a good idea to make it out of wood, but just buy some metal or something, or just find a used one somewhere. But I'd have to make sure it fits my particular vehicle, which is always the challenge, which usually means buying something custom for your car specifically, and it can get pretty expensive. Like the rack is almost guaranteed to be more expensive than the boat that I would get, like a kayak. You can get kayaks for $200 or $300 like at Walmart or places like that, and I would be happy enough with that. But yeah, the stupid racks is the problem. Anyway, I guess they're quiet enough now. I can keep going. Otherwise, I'll be here all day. Ruth chapter 2. Oops, let me give me a little bit longer quiet time there. Ruth chapter 2. Now Naomi had a relative on her husband's side, a prominent man of noble character from the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, "Please let me go into the fields and glean heads of grain after someone in whose sight I may find favor." "Go ahead, my daughter," Naomi replied. So Ruth departed and went out into the field and gleaned after the harvesters. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was from... I have to wait for this to settle a little bit. Yeah, I'll just start over. I didn't think of that coming. It's pretty much done now. I'll just start over. Ruth chapter 2. Now Naomi had a relative on her husband's side, a prominent man of noble character from the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, "Please let me go into the fields and glean heads of grain after someone in whose sight I may find favor." "Go ahead, my daughter," Naomi replied. So Ruth departed and went out into the field and gleaned after the harvesters. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. Just then Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and said to the harvesters, "The Lord be with you." "The Lord bless you," they replied. And Boaz asked the foreman of his harvesters, "Whose young woman is this?" The foreman answered, "She is the Moabitess who returned with Naomi from the land of Moab. She has said, 'Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves after the harvesters.' So she came out and has continued from morning until now, except that she rested a short time in the shelter." Then Boaz said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, do not go and glean in another field, and do not go away from this place, but stay here close to my servant girls. Let your eyes be on the field they are harvesting, and follow along after these girls. Indeed, I have ordered the young men not to touch you, and when you are thirsty, go and drink from the jars the young men have filled." At this she fell on her face, bowing low to the ground, and said to him, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you should take notice of me, even though I am a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I have been made fully aware of all you have done for your mother. Sorry, I got choked up a little bit. This story is just so good. Such an honorable man. It's crazy. It's a great story. All right, let's get back to it. Boaz replied, I have been made fully aware of all you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and the land of your birth, and how you came to a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay your work, and may you receive a rich reward from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have taken refuge. My Lord, she said, may I continue to find favor in your eyes, for you have comforted and spoken kindly to your maidservant, though I am not like one of your servant girls. At mealtime Boaz said to her, Come over here, have some bread, and dip it into the vinegar sauce. So she sat down beside the harvesters, and he offered her roasted grain, and she ate and was satisfied and had some left over. When Ruth got up to glean, Boaz ordered his young men, Even if she gathers among the sheaves, do not insult her. Rather, pull out for her some stalks from the bundles and leave them for her to gather. Do not rebuke her. So Ruth gathered grain in the field until evening. And when she beat out what she had gleaned, it was about an ephah of barley. She picked up the grain and went into the town, where her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought out what she had saved from her meal and gave it to Naomi. Then her mother-in-law asked her, Where did you glean today, and where did you work? Blessed be the man who noticed you. So she told her mother-in-law where she had worked. The name of the man I worked with today is Boaz, she said. Then Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, May he be blessed by the Lord, who has not withdrawn his kindness from the living or the dead. Naomi continued, The man is a close relative. He is one of our kinsmen redeemers. Then Ruth the Moabitess said, He also told me, Stay with my young men until they have finished gathering all my harvest. And Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, Ruth, My daughter, it is good for you to work with his young women, so that nothing will happen to you in another field. So Ruth stayed close to the servant girls of Boaz to glean grain until the barley and wheat harvests were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. All this time there was I don't know what to call them, a fly or a beetle. They look like halfway in between, but I think they're a beetle, but been crawling up my arm, and I didn't want to disrupt the chapter, so I just let it go until I was able to finish. Got some kayakers or something coming over here. That kind of boat those guys have would be really nice. It's more like a fishing boat, and I'm sure they're not cheap, but they're more stable because they're got a flat bottom on them. And I'm guessing, I can't see from here, but I'm guessing you can put a little motor on them. Yeah, I think I see a motor over there. It's really nice. Ruth chapter 3. One day Ruth's mother-in-law Naomi said to her, My daughter, should I not seek a resting place for you, that it may be well with you? Now is not Boaz with those servant girls you have been working? With whose servant girls you have been working a relative of ours? In fact, tonight he is winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Therefore wash yourself, put on perfume, and wear your best clothes. Go down to the threshing floor, but do not let the man know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he lies, then go in and uncover his feet and lie down, and he will explain to you what you should do. I will do everything you say, Ruth answered. So she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law had instructed her to do. After Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. Then Ruth went in secretly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. At midnight Boaz was startled, turned over, and there lying at his feet was a woman. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am your servant Ruth," she replied. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, for you are a kinsman redeemer." Then Boaz said, "May the Lord bless you, my daughter. You have shown more kindness now than before, because you have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. And now do not be afraid, my daughter. I will do for you whatever you request, since all my fellow townspeople know that you are a woman of noble character. Yes, it is true that I am a kinsman redeemer, but there is a redeemer nearer than I. Stay here tonight, and in the morning, if he wants to redeem you, good, let him redeem you. But if he does not want to redeem you, as surely as the Lord lives, I will. Now lie here until morning." So she lay down at his feet until morning, but she got up before anyone else could recognize her. Then Boaz said, "Do not let it be known that a woman came to the threshing floor." And he told her, "Bring the shawl you are wearing and hold it out." When she did so, he shoveled 6 measures of barley into her shawl. Then he went into the city. When Ruth returned to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked her, "How did it go, my daughter?" Then Ruth told her all that Boaz had done for her. And she said, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, for he said, 'Do not go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" "Wait, my daughter," said Naomi, until you find out how things go, for he will not rest unless he has resolved the matter today." Ruth chapter 4. Meanwhile Boaz went to the gate and sat down there. Soon the kinsman redeemer of whom he had spoken came along, and Boaz said, "Come over here, my friend, and sit down." So he went over and sat down. Then Boaz took 10 of the elders of the city and said, "Sit here," and they did so. And he said to the kinsman redeemer, "Naomi, who has returned from the land of Moab, is selling the piece of land that belonged to our brother Elimelech. I thought I should inform you, that you may buy it back in the presence of those seated here, and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you want to redeem it, do so. But if you will not redeem it, tell me so I may know, because there is no one but you to redeem it, and I am next after you." "I will redeem it," he replied. Then Boaz said, "On the day you buy the land from Naomi and also from Ruth the Moabitess, you must also acquire the widow of the deceased in order to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance." The kinsman redeemer replied, "I cannot redeem it myself, or I would jeopardize my own inheritance. Take my right of redemption, because I cannot redeem it." Now in former times in Israel, concerning the redemption or exchange of property, to make any matter legally binding, a man would remove his sandal and give it to the other party, and this was a confirmation in Israel. So the kinsman redeemer removed his sandal and said to Boaz, "Buy it for yourself." At this Boaz said to the elders and all the people, "You are witnesses today that I am buying from Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech, Chilion, and Mahlon. Moreover, I have acquired Ruth the Moabitess, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, to raise up the name of the deceased through his inheritance, so that his name will not disappear from among his brothers or from the gate of his home. You are witnesses today." "We are witnesses," said the elders and all the people at the gate. "May the Lord make the women entering your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the house of Israel. May you be prosperous in Ephrathah and famous in Bethlehem. And may your house become like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, because of the offspring the Lord will give you by this young woman." So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. And when he had relations with her, the Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. Then the women said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without a kinsman redeemer. May his name become famous in Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you and is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth." And Naomi took the child, placed him on her lap, and became a nurse to him. The neighbor women said, "A son has been born to Naomi." And they named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now these are the generations of Perez. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse, and Jesse was the father of David. That's so crazy. I like that story. It's good. All right. We've got Acts chapter 6, and that's it. Might not do a second reading. I want to make sure to go spend some time with my mom and stuff. Acts chapter 6. In those days, when the disciples were increasing in number, the Grecian Jews among them began to grumble against the Hebraic Jews because their widows were being overlooked in the daily distribution of food. So the 12 summoned all the disciples and said, "It is unacceptable for us to neglect the word of God in order to wait on tables. Therefore, brothers, select from among you 7 men confirmed to be full of the Spirit and wisdom. We will appoint this responsibility to them, and will devote ourselves to prayer and to the ministry of the word." This proposal pleased the whole group. They chose Stephen, a man full of faith and of the Holy Spirit, as well as Philip, Prochorus, Nicanor, Timon, Parmenas, and Nicholas from Antioch, a convert to Judaism. They presented these 7 to the apostles, who prayed and laid their hands on them. So the word of God continued to spread. The number of disciples in Jerusalem grew rapidly, and a great number of priests became obedient to the faith. Now Stephen, who was full of grace and power, was performing great wonders and signs among the people. But resistance arose from what was called the synagogue of the freedmen, including Cyrenians, Alexandrians, and men from the provinces of Cilicia and Asia. They began to argue with Stephen. But they could not stand up to his wisdom or the Spirit by whom he spoke. Then they prompted some men to say, We heard Stephen speak words of blasphemy. It's a tongue twister. Then they prompted some men to say, We heard Stephen speak words of blasphemy against Moses and against God. So they stirred up the people, elders, and scribes, and confronted Stephen. They seized him and brought him before the Sanhedrin, where they presented false witnesses who said, This man never stopped speaking against this holy place and against the law. For we have heard him say that Jesus of Nazareth will destroy this place and change the customs that Moses handed down to us. All who were sitting in the Sanhedrin looked intently at Stephen, and they saw that his face was like the face of an angel. All right, that's it for that reading. I'm going to end the stream here. I'll spin the camera around just so you can see where I'm at. But I want to go hang out with Mom for a while, and I don't think we'll be here for super long, so just show a quick view of where I'm at. So right in the middle of the lake, because I'm on this sandbar that is basically almost like an island. And then out there, whoops, shoot, start that again. Got the mountains back there. There's where I was sitting over there. I'm like I only have like less than probably like 5 feet of sandbar that I'm standing on. Otherwise, it's I don't know what you'd call that, a bay, I guess, little area of water. It's possible I might be able to walk all the way across this, and I'm tempted to try, but I don't know, maybe I'll come over here just to see how far I can go before it becomes unwalkable. But it kind of seems like I might be able to keep going. It's amazing how many of these snails there are. I don't think the snails are still in the shells. I don't know where they go, but they have all these shells left over. I guess some of them, no, maybe they do still have snails inside some of them. I'm not sure how that works. Must have had a little boat go by or something. Okay, yeah. Well, okay, never mind. I thought this was the end of where I could go, but it gets a little bit muddy, maybe, but I think I can keep going. I'm not sure how far I'm gonna go, but still solid. Oh, so many of these snails. Yeah. I think I can, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can go all the way around. It's really grassy on this part, so it's not quite as nice as walking on the sand, but I could definitely wade through there, and walking on the grass is not that bad. It's just not super ideal necessarily. Anyway, I think I'm gonna head back to where Mom is and just hang out for the rest of the afternoon or whatever. But thanks for joining me here. It's a really amazing place. I might come back here and do some more reading someday, because I can actually live stream here, which I probably would have done today, but I didn't leave my setup prepared, so wasn't able to do that. But anyway, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you around.